DC of the area, Kwahu, is Samuel Asamoah, who has been speaking on this particular development.
Police has issued that order. The last time I spoke to some of the chiefs, they were at the police headquarters, and they confirmed that the criminal was there. And it's well over 3 4 hours now. I've not called back. We were having series of meetings here and there. So as at now, I don't know what is happening exactly over there, but I want to suspect that by now she has been released.
And how about the chief? There are claims that his whereabouts is unknown.
When I spoke to some of the chiefs, they told me they were there with their queen mother. So the two of them were there at the police headquarters.
There are claims that currently there's tension in the area. Can you confirm this? And how is DISEC managing the situation?
The situation is very calm at the moment.
But has security been deployed to the area?
Yeah, we have a lot of policemen over there. We met at DISEC and we discussed the way forward. The DISEC members went to the place to verify things. And when we went there, the place was very calm. At the moment, the regional police command, the division, and the district, they were all there when we went there.
How many men have been deployed so far?
They called for reinforcement from Afram Plains and other areas.
So that's Kwahu East DC Samuel Asamoah speaking to Joy News earlier. My colleague Kenneth Jesse joins me in studio with more details on this particular developing story. Ken, let's start with the fact that Kwahu Traditional Council has issued a statement on this particular matter. Bring us up to speed on what they say.
Well, indeed, Brace, the Kwahu Traditional Council says it wishes to correct misinformation circulated by media outlets alleging that Nana Adwoa Jemfua III, the paramount queen mother of Kwahu, has been abducted. They say that this report is entirely false. Now, the statement continues to say that following the interlocutory injunction issued on the 24th of June 2024 by the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs in favor of Dasibre Kuyamwa Ejapon II, the Ghana Police Service acted pursuant to the court order to secure the peace. The injunction, they say, restrains Bafo Osayakoto, who has been styling himself as Kwahu, together with the Queen Mother and others, from interfering with Dasibre Kuyamwa Ejapon II's occupation and duties at the Abene Palace. The police intervention, they say, was necessary to prevent clashes that could endanger lives in Kwahu. It continues to say that they wish to state clearly that the Queen Mother does not reside at the Abene Palace, nor do any of the individuals who were arrested. It says that contrary to circulating rumors, no abduction has taken place. It has further come to the attention of the council that the Queen Mother has engaged thugs in an attempt to forcibly take over the Abene Palace and has issued threats intended to disrupt the legitimate work of the substantive Kwahu Dasibre Kuyamwa Ejapon II. All persons arrested by the police are currently in lawful custody and are safe and in good health. The statement concludes by saying that they have copied the official order issued by the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs for public reference. That's how it ends.
Now, we also do understand the Inspector General of Police has directed PIPS to investigate the conduct of the officers involved in today's raid. What more is in the statement?
Rightly so, the IGP has directed the release of the Queen Mother of Kwahu, according to a statement that they released earlier. They say that this follows an operation by some officers this morning. The IGP has further directed the Police Professional Standards Bureau to conduct investigation into the circumstances surrounding the operation and any officers found culpable sanctioned. Meanwhile, security has been intensified in and around Kwahu to ensure the security and safety of all persons. The police statement concludes.
Thank you very much, Ken Jesse there. Let's bring in Mustafa Abdallah. He is a senior researcher and deputy head of programs, peace operations, stabilization, and peace building at the Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Training Center. I'm grateful to you, Mustafa Abdallah, for joining us here. Now, how should the police go about dealing with issues concerning chieftaincy disputes in this country?
Yeah, I think, thank you very much for the opportunity. Yes, chieftaincy institution, as we all know, It's part of our governance structures. It's part of our governance structures in the country. And they play a very key role. Hello?
I'm listening to you, sir.
Yeah, okay, they play a very key role in terms of our local governance structures. And for that matter, any issue relating to conflict where any chieftaincy institution is associated, we need to approach it with care. And so my suggestion is that, as I indicated, it's a very revered institution, and it's also part of our governance structures. So the IGP, as he directed, that the chieftaincy, the Queen Mother be released is in the right direction, because you realize that when you go to the traditional level, you realize that the chieftaincy or the chief Queen Mother or the chief actually command a lot of respect, and therefore any attempt to arrest her would further bring more violence within the community. So it's very important, as the IGP has directed, that she be released and further investigations be carried out to understand the issues and be able to address it in a manner that will not degenerate into further violence.
If you listen to the statement from the council, they seek to say that, well, the police went there to perform a legitimate role, to ensure that the paramount chief of the area has a peace of mind to operate. Now, how does the police operate in such a circumstance when there are two feuding factions? The IGP thinks that the Queen Mother must be released. The traditional authority also says, well, the police went there to ensure that the paramount chief is able to do his work in a peaceful environment. How must the police approach this particular development then?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, the traditional authority, as I indicated, is a very key institution in terms of our local governance structure.
Yes.
But if you also look at the constitution, the primary role of maintaining law and order resides with the Ghana Police Service, and the IGP is the head of the Ghana Police Service. So in this very circumstance, the instruction from the Ghana Police Service, I think, should hold sway over any decision by the traditional council. But what we need to do is that if the Queen Mother is released, we need to give her a protection. The Ghana Police Service need to give her a protection while mediation efforts continue between the paramount chief or between the chieftaincy institutions within the Kwahu area and the other stakeholders to be able to find amicable solution to the problem.
Okay.
But as of now, the instruction of the IGP should reign supreme. But again, he needs to also give protection to the Queen Mother and begin to engage in terms of finding amicable solution to the problem.
Mr. Kindly hold the line for me. Let me bring in the DC of the area, Samuel Asamoah. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us. As we speak, what's the situation in the area? Hello, Mr. Asamoah.
Yes, sir.
I'm grateful that you joined us here. I want to find out from you what the current situation is in the area.
Thank you very much. Greetings to all your listeners. So far, the situation is very calm. Abene is very calm at the moment.
Okay. Still, police presence. Do you have that presence there, as indicated?
Yeah. What is happening is that I think you already have the story. The whole thing started at dawn today, around 3:30, 4 o'clock thereabout. And around 8:30, 9 o'clock, we convened that meeting. We decided as to how to go about it. And because at that time, the Queen Mother and the chief, the paramount chief, the two of them have been taken to Accra, we decided to place so many calls so that regional minister and the others will help us as to how to go about it. And so after a dissect meeting, we moved to the place. Fortunately enough, the police people who brought the other chief to the palace took him away, and currently the local police are in Abene, protecting the palace.
So, can we confirm that the Queen Mother has been released?
The Queen Mother has been released, and then the paramount chief too has been released. In fact, I spoke to some of Nananum, as at the time they were at police quarters, and they confirmed that the Queen Mother and the chief were there. But after some time, when I called, about 2-3 hours, when I called back, I was told that the two of them have been released.
A statement the Traditional Council, the Kwahu Traditional Council, released earlier sort of created the impression that the Queen Mother, intended to obstruct the Kwahu from performing his legitimate role. How is the District Security Council dealing with this particular matter?
Actually, my brother, when it comes to chieftaincy matters, you are all aware that we are not supposed to get ourselves involved. When it is about chieftaincy, we leave it for Nananum and the law to take over. As for DISEC, we have the mandate, but we focus on the security aspect of it. We only try to make sure that there will always be peace in the area. When we see that security is at risk, then we can move in to make sure that we restore peace and order. But as for the chieftaincy issues, it is for Nananum and the law to control it. So if you will pardon me, I cannot go into it.
Yes, I don't want you to go into it, but when the causal factor to that peace or that disturbance of the peace is something you can deal with, why not go into it?
Yeah, it's about chieftaincy, as I said.
I understand.
Currently, as we speak, it looks as if we have two paramount chiefs. That is how it is looking at. That's how it is looking like. And so, like I said, I will not go into it. The law should take its course. The matter is with the law. In the law court, Nananum are actually dealing with it in the law court.
And
so,
how is DISEC working to ensure that this does not destabilize the peace that you're enjoying in the area?
Security is always alert, and frequently we meet at DISEC level to assess the situation. Frequently, almost every now and then, DISEC meets to assess the situation. And I have very serious, hard-working security personnel in the area who are helping us to maintain law and order.
So, okay, how did this incident then happen? I mean, when the security, as you say, are on top of their job in the area?
Come again.
I'm asking, you've said that you have very capable hands managing security in your area, and I wanted to find out from you, how did this incident then happen?
It's like sometimes you try to do whatever, but people can also take you by surprise. Like I said, the whole thing started last Sunday. I think that was there Sunday before this last Saturday. The whole thing started, and then it's like the security moved in to arrest the situation. So we met at DISEC on Friday. Like I said, we closed from DISEC meeting around 5 p.m. We were assessing the situation, and we were trying to look at how we can, maintain peace and order around the Abene and its environs. Until this dawn, this thing happened. By then, it got so good. My police commander rushed to the place very early in the morning, and as he was there, he was giving us updates. So he came back to join us at Dissect, and then later on he went back. Now we are in control, but sometimes nobody knows. People can take us by surprise. We are in control, actually. The fact that at the end of the day, there's no casualty, it means my security personnel are in control.
I'm sure you've heard the IGP directing the Police Professional Standards Bureau to conduct an investigation into the circumstance surrounding the operation, and that officers found culpable must be sanctioned.
Yes.
I mean, per your briefing, where did these officers come from? Your area or Accra?
That much I cannot tell, but the information we picked, the intelligence we picked, was that they were coming from Accra.
Which means that you didn't have the involvement of the police in your area.
No. They all came from Accra. And the fact that they took the Queen Mother and the chief to the headquarters means they came from Accra.
Now, as head of Dissect for the area, what did you tell the police when you heard that some people came out of your jurisdiction to perform an operation in your area without the consent of your security personnel?
That is for the security officers to answer, because currently in the Kwahu area we have regional police command at Impriso, and then divisional command at Nkwetia, and then the district command at Abitici. So this question, they are to answer it. If people are coming from police personnel are coming from Accra for such operations, whether they were informed or not, that much I cannot tell. That's why I'm saying that they have to answer it. And then let me also mention it once again that because it is chieftaincy matters, I cannot seriously go into it.
Okay, all right. I hope to see a day where you can invite them all to sit and see how you can broker peace in the area, because that's your area. When it's peaceful for all of you.
Oh yes, of course. It looks as if the chieftaincy matters are becoming too much, especially in the Kwahu district. We have about 3-4 areas where these problems are still going on. But then we have reported it to the higher authority, and we know that they will come down to support us. To resolve this issue.
I'm grateful to you, Samuel Asamoah, SDC for Kwahu East. We still have Mustafa Abdallah. He is Deputy Head of Programs, Peace Operations, Stabilization and Peace Building at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. I mean, you've listened to the DC there. What are the key points for you? And from what he shared, how do you think this case must be, handled going forward?
Yes, I think it is a sensitive matter. Chieftaincy institutions, even though they are also under the law, but it is also a very sensitive matter. And the way the IGP gave the instructions in terms of first releasing the chief is in the right direction, because it helps to calm down her followers who perhaps might engage in other violence behind the scenes.
But when you hear the DC confirm to us that the men or the police personnel who came to undertake that operation came from Accra, must that be the standard procedure of the police dealing with chieftaincy matters?
No, I think that is a challenge to me as I listen to him, because if you look at the Intelligence Agencies Act, which was revised, that is Act 1020, when the police is working, it's working according to structure. We have the national headquarters, we have the regional security council, we have the district security council. So there should be a coordination between the national headquarters, the regional, and the district or the municipal when operation is being undertaken. Because to move from the national headquarters to carry out an operation within a district without the knowledge of the district security council create difficulties for me in terms of coordination, also in terms of the official sanctioning of that particular operation. How can an operation be sanctioned from the national headquarters without the knowledge of those who are on the ground? I think that is a major gap that we need to look at in terms of moving forward to be able to address similar challenges.
Well, should the head of DISEC, the DC here, must be aware of such operations if the chain of command must be followed?
Yeah. He must be, because that he is the head of the security within that particular district or region. And so for any operation to be conducted without his knowledge creates difficulties for cooperation in terms of dealing with a security challenge. And so what has happened currently means that the authority of the Regional Security Council or the District Security Council has been undermined by this particular operation. And that creates difficulties in terms of what we describe as a synergy between the various security agencies in terms from their operations at the national headquarters, regional headquarters, and the district headquarters. And so moving forward, I think that difficulty, that we need to address this particular gap to be able to ensure that there is cooperation between the national level and the district level in such operations.
Do you support the investigation being called for by the IGP?
Yeah, it's very necessary because we are not too sure now whether they were officially sanctioned from the national headquarters, from the national security, from the Ghana Police Service. And so the investigation sanctioned by the IGP will reveal the true authority that actually sanctioned this particular operation and for what purpose. Okay. And so that is very, very important for us to be able to begin to put in place measures to address the challenge in terms of the difficulties between the cream order and then the other paramount chief.
I'm grateful to you, Mustafa Abdullah, a senior researcher and deputy head of programs, peace operations, stabilization and peace building at Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. And that has been Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel Connecting Energies, Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil, and also by Shield Pension Trust. Into the future with you. My name is Samuel Kojo. Up next is News Night after these.
Auntie T, abeg, fix me gobetete Ghana. No gari, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, brah, that be dangerous combination, no?
Problem no day. I fit handle am.
For Telecel, we the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, you fit get your own data and call packages. Fala! Made For Me bundles like the way you the want them. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana mada with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Mom, please can I have some milk in my Milo?
Have you tasted it?
No, but I didn't see you add milk.
Hey, taste it before you ask me any questions.
Hey, milk na chum say.
This is Milo all in one. Milo Pampa, cocoa, malt, milk and show, everything is inside.
Milo All-in-One already comes with more milk. Just mix with water and taste the nourishing goodness of quality cocoa, malt, and more milk all in one sachet. Milo, the energy to go further.
This advert is FDA approved.
I'm telling you, my brother has scored more goals than Asamoah Gyan.
What? This is impossible.
Check the stats.
What stats? We can't start. I have seen everything from 1986.
Funny thing about us Ghanaians, we'll argue for 3 days straight, but numbers always settle the matter. So instead of just telling you about better fuels, let's do the math. The new Shell Fuel Save lasts up to 15 kilometers longer per tank. The new Shell V Power cleans 100% of your engine's critical parts.
Now that's better by far.
The next time you think of filling up, choose new and improved Shell Fuels.
No matter where we are, Africa always calls us home. And here in Ghana, the call is clear: to power growth and create lasting impact. At Stanbic Corporate and Investment Banking, we are creating giants and connecting businesses. From financing bold energy projects to enabling cleaner, reliable power for industries, we are fueling Ghana's transformation. With our support, Mensah Energy is delivering sustainable energy that powers Goldfields operations, helping them move closer to cleaner, greener mining. This is a story of how we bring businesses together, create jobs, empower communities, and invest in the next generation. Stanbic Bank, delivering sustainable growth, creating impact. To learn more, visit stanbicbank.com.gh.
On Newsnight tonight, Speaker of Parliament criticizes Minority Leader as he distances himself from Afenyo King's references to the Speaker's past conduct as MP to justify the recent chaos in Parliament.
What the Minority Leader is doing now is not what I did. He has copiously referred to you people that he took inspiration from my record. Please go and read my record.
Also tonight, the Ghana Armed Forces is revamping recruitment drive with enhanced safety protocols after recent deadly stampede left 6 dead and dozens injured.
And so what we have done is that we have beefed up. The military police will be there. More personnel have been brought on board and will not allow any. But the applicant must also learn to comport themselves. When we ask them to sit, we expect them to sit.
We hear from the minority, which had earlier pressed government to review the entire recruitment process. Also tonight, government to introduce a national defense university bill to streamline and enhance training of security personnel across Ghana.
It's President Mohammed's decision that the Ghana Armed Forces and all its allied institutions be upgraded into a university of the National Defense University.
And then later, as Warrior residents push for swift ratification of the lithium lease, we'll hear from a policy analyst and the Chamber of Mines. They are both asking the minority and majority sides in Parliament to desist from politicizing the deal and pass it.
Clearly, the NPP is playing politics with this whole issue. And it's also fair to observe that the NDC in their time also played politics with the issue. The whole discussion seems to be driven by sentiments rather than data and science.
More, as he says, increasingly polarized exchanges between the majority and minority could weaken investor confidence.
Playing endless politics with this lithium deal is sending a bad signal to the international investor communities.
We'll hear from the Chamber of Mines in Business tonight.
Finance Minister Dr. Tuforson projects about 6.5% inflation rate before the end of this year.
And in sports, Ghana's Black Stars complete final training session ahead of tomorrow's Kirin Cup clash against South Korea.
And you want to join us with your thoughts and comments, 055-1111-997. My name is Mensah, and we start tonight from Parliament, where the Speaker, Aban Babing, has tonight been criticizing the minority leader as he distances himself from Alexander Afenyo King's references to the Speaker's past conduct as MP to justify the recent chaos in the House. Now, Parliament this year alone has recorded a number of unpleasant incidents, both on the floor and at the committee levels, especially during ministerial vetting of Kwabena Mensah Kando and Samuel Okudito Ablakwa. The most recent case was the vetting of Chief Justice nominee Paul Bafoboni, who was confirmed today and sworn in, where the committee spent close to 3 hours arguing over the propriety of the open remarks of the minority leader. Now listen to Speaker Aban Babing reaction to the recent incidents at the launch of a scholarship scheme for members of Parliament.
You've been told often And sometimes I expect some of you who experience it to respond, but you don't. And you know, silence means consent. What the minority leader is doing now is not what I did. He has copiously referred to you people that he took inspiration from my record. Please go and read my record. I never, on the floor, raised my voice. I never, on the floor, tried to show grandeur. No, I studied the ecology, the political environment. I tested the pulse of the people, and you play along that. I didn't do what you are doing. Please, anybody can go and read.
Well, the Speaker was speaking today at the scholarship launch for members of Parliament. My colleague, parliamentary correspondent, will join me pretty shortly with how this matter came about and what really triggered. There's also the Speaker goes ahead to speak directly to other issues of importance to him, directly dealing with the incident the minority leader, usually making references to him.
Only one occasion when the Right Honorable Peter Lajeti came and read a statement attacking me personally, that I rose up to say my side of the story, and he would not allow me to do so. My very good friend, Papa Nkuma, who was the majority leader then, stood up and said, once he mentioned me specifically, by our standing orders, I have the right of reply. And he shouted at him and prevented him and ordered him to sit down. And that day, I took my books and stormed to my office. My colleagues did not follow me. They continued with the work of Parliament. It was in my office that the then few cameras, led by GTV, questioned why I moved out. And I gave them my side of the story. I said, if this is how the Speaker was going to go about things on the floor of Parliament, I will go after him. That caught the attention of the whole nation. That is the only instance. And later on, I met him and narrated that he accused me without basis. They pleaded on me to rather tone down my response, which was meaningless. It's also captured in the official report. I'm saying this because this has been referred to many times by many people, that I behaved the same way when I was minority leader. If I did, we could have turned things around within 2 years, and we almost won the 2004 elections. And these young MPs, the Minister for Education and his team, joined us in 2005. Please, the opportunity is now, and that is why I'm saying this.
Well, let me bring in my colleague, James Aveji, who was there for us today. And James, this was supposed to be a scholarship launch event. So how did this come into his speech?
Well, Evan, so the Speaker, as part of his speech, was drawing on how he himself has improved upon his parliamentary delivery as well as his leadership skills from trainings that he's had from several institutions, mentioned the fact that in those critical times when a government changed power, especially under John Ejekun Kufuor, when he became the minority leader, he immediately had to enroll himself at GIMPA to undertake some leadership courses in order to sharpen his skills. And it was from then that he delved into the conversations about what is happening now and how the minority leader on a number of occasions indicated that the Speaker is more or less his father in the House, and that he takes a lot of inspirations from the way he led the minority when he was the minority leader back into power in 2008 when things, the party fell apart and even Parliament, things looked like that they were not, the NDC at the time will not be able to come into power again. It is on that basis and those influences the minority leader would usually draw in his speeches that he gave that indication or statement distancing himself from some of those positions.
And to put it simply, he doesn't approve of the minority leader's actions in the specific instances that we know has cropped up recently.
Not in any way at all, Evans. You hear him talk about the fact that even in instances where he, as the minority leader, staged a walkout of proceedings, his members stayed to make sure they execute the job of the minority on the floor. And so he does not associate himself with any of those things in any way.
I want to bring in John Darko. He's MP for Swame. He's also the legal counsel for the Minority Caucus in Parliament. Mr. Darko, thanks for your time here on News Night. You just listened to the Speaker of Parliament there. The minority leader describes him as his father. His position is that he doesn't endorse the leadership style of the minority leader, and many will see what he said tonight as a rebuke of the way he's approached the leadership of the minority. Give me your quick response to what you've heard the speaker said today.
Yeah, let me say here that those of us in the minority support our leader without any shade of or without any wavering at all. The minority leader is in a rather difficult situation. A situation which has never happened under the Fourth Republic. And he carries a lot of weight on his shoulder. Look, the minority leader has done a yeoman's job from January to now. And honestly speaking, I must say I respect the Speaker of Parliament very, very well. When he sits as the Speaker, it is completely different. And I enjoy Parliament when the Speaker of Parliament is sitting, Honorable Agbangbadun is sitting and presiding. But let me say this. Anytime your opponent praises you, it means that you're doing something wrong against your group. And I can tell you, the Honorable Speaker is a member of the NDC. He's happy when the NDC is in the driving seat. He will definitely not be happy when the minority leader, Afena Markin, is in the driving seat. He will not praise Afena Markin when Afena Markin is leading the charge against the NDC. He will never do that. If you look at what happens in the House, the majority side sometimes do worse. But in most cases, if there's going to be any backlash against members of Parliament, it comes only against the minority. Why is that the case? Honorable Ayariga, during the vetting of the CJ, what did he do? He said that he wasn't going to allow Honorable Afena Martin to ask certain persons or give a statement, and that he will make sure that Afena Martin doesn't do what he wants to do. Meanwhile, he wasn't the one presiding. The person presiding at the time was the chair of the appointment committee. On what basis was the majority leader claiming that he was going to prevent Afena Martin from going ahead to do what he was doing? Did the speaker reduce the majority leader to saying that? And so honestly, much as I respect and love Honorable Agbangbadun, I disagree completely with him. I don't think that really MPP has to get an endorsement from an NDC person before MPP knows that you are doing a good job.
So the speaker is being unfair then, targeting the minority side unfairly, and possibly discriminating against you. Is that your position on the matter?
That is why he's the assignment. He's leading a child and completely we follow him. Yes, listen. What about was a minority leader? Some of us were around, but we followed him. Maybe we don't have all the videos, but we watched some of his actions. We saw him. I don't think that he can say that he was all perfect. Just like a Martin is not perfect. Nobody is perfect.
I mean,
let's allow the man to do his job. He has our total support.
Hello,
John. The minority members, 100%.
Hello, John.
Can you hear me? Martin, and he's leading us. We are fine with it.
John, can you hear me?
Yes.
You talk about your minority leader not being perfect, of course. Talking about imperfections, where would you say it has manifested itself in the last year or so? What would you say has been his flaw that needs to be improved? Because you listen to the speaker, he points to the challenges of the leadership style. You say he's not perfect. If he's not perfect, then there are instances where you yourself have spotted that you believe he can do something about to improve. Which are these?
Well, I'm saying that he's imperfect, just like I am imperfect. Just like you say that you are imperfect, just like the Speaker of Parliament is imperfect, just like the President is imperfect. There's no perfect man in this country. It is in that respect that I'm saying that in terms of his leadership skills, in terms of how he's led the minority caucus in Parliament, I always call him 100 over 100. Look, you will never going to get the NDC to praise MPP leader in Parliament. If Afenimaki was being praised by the NDC members, I would think that there's something wrong with him. I would think that he's doing something bad. But so long that the NDC is against Afenimaki, it means that he's doing something right. And so yes, we are all imperfect. In terms of his leadership skills, I haven't seen any problem with that.
So as far as his leadership is concerned, he is imperfect.
He is doing his job.
In fact,
he's doing his job as a leader of the minority group. He's leading us. He's the Osakene of our days, and he has our support.
I hear you, John.
100%.
I hear you, John.
Without any reverence.
As far as his leadership is concerned, rather, you see him as perfect then, because 100 over 100 is a perfect.
Exactly. His leadership in Parliament, 100%.
John Darko there is MP for Swame. He's also the Minorities Council, Legal Council. Still live here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, the Ghana Armed Forces is set to resume its recruitment exercise in Accra following a tragic stampede last week that claimed 6 lives and left several injured. Now, in response, the military has unveiled a robust safety plan, including reinforced security and crowd management protocols to prevent similar incidents. My colleague, Michael Shale, joins me with details of that statement from the Armed Forces. Walk us through the new protocols.
Well, Evans, we know that as part of the new measures to ensure a seamless process, unlike what we saw at the Elwak Stadium, where hundreds of thousands of people had gathered waiting for their turn, they tell us that in this statement that the screening will be done at 8 sub-centers within the following 5 stations. And in contrast, Evans, what we know is that all of them, the Greater Accra region, are going to be at one place, which was the Elwak Sports Stadium. Now it's going to be 5. Elwak Stadium will have 2 centers. Nicholson Park, Bema Camp, 2 centers. The Air Force Base, Bema Camp, will have 1. There's going to be another one at the Training and Doctrine Command at Tradok, Teshi, 2 centers. Then the Eastern Naval Command, Tema. They continue and tell us that all qualified applicants in batches of 600 persons will each receive an SMS specifying their reporting dates, batches, and designated centers. They are also encouraged to check on the recruitment portal for updates. Applicants are strongly advised to strictly adhere to these instructions. Any qualified applicant who does not receive a text message by Thursday, 20th November 2025 should call the helpline for assistance. Applicants can also verify from the recruitment portal. Evans, this is exactly the new protocol, stark different from what it used to be. Everybody's going to be at Elwak Sports Stadium this time around. From Thursday, they're going to be using 5 different areas, which will have more than 10 centers if you put that all together, Evans.
Well, the Acting Director General Public Affairs at the Ghana Armed Forces, Veronica Ahin, says these rules will be strictly enforced.
So, per the release, we are going to invite the applicants, giving specific dates and specific venues, and they will be invited in the numbers of not more than 600. In fact, 600. And so, looking at all the venues we have mentioned, they can easily take that. So there will be no overcrowding at all. So we have put in place these measures to ensure that overcrowding does not occur. Aside that, we have also upped the security at all these centers to ensure that non-applicants are not allowed in to increase the numbers at the centers. So that is what we have done so far.
Well, you've also said that friends and family or non-applicants can come. How are you going to ensure that they adhere to that, measure?
I think it is in the interest of the families and friends and all of us to ensure that the applicants go through this process peacefully and safely. And so what we have done is that we have beefed up. The military police will be there. More personnel have been brought on board and will not allow anybody. We would want to appeal to the the general public to help us do this process as seamless as possible. We need their children and their friends to be safe. And so we'd rather appeal to them not to come. We wouldn't want to be seen using force or trying to arrest anybody, because the military police will be there in their numbers, other personnel will be there in their numbers, and we will not allow anybody, and we mean nobody, will be allowed in. And so the general public is accordingly advised to stay at home and allow the process to go on as planned. But the applicant must also learn to comport themselves. When we ask them to sit, we expect them to sit. Until you are called, you are expected to sit wherever has been dedicated to you. And so we appeal to the applicants to obey simple instructions. In fact, the press release has stressed it. We expect them to obey strictly the instructions that will be given out. Anybody who misconducts him or herself will be thrown out, and that is automatic disqualification. So whilst we will do our bit to ensure that we handle them humanely, we expect nothing from them than strict adherence to the instructions that will be given out to them when they come.
Well, she also clarified that these protocols will apply in some regions.
Let me say that the process we used has served us over the years without any problem. And so, unfortunately, if this happened, it means that it is time for us to review the way we do things. And even before the Board of Inquiry comes out, we have taken that steps. Aside Accra, we have also taken steps to expand the venues for the enlistment. So we have now added the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Stadium in addition to the Baba Yara Stadium to make sure that there is more space for the applicant to do their work. Let me also stress that we applied or we advertised because we need this applicant. And so we'll do everything within our power to make sure that going forward, the processes run smoothly without any challenges.
Well, last week, following the stampede that claimed the 6 lives, government announced a plan to offer automatic recruitment slots to families of the deceased as compensation. Well, security analyst Professor Kwesi Aning disagrees.
So next time I'm going to take an exam and I slip and fall, then I should be passed? I mean, what kind of country is this? Okay, the fact that an institution failed in establishing appropriate mechanisms and processes that are protective of the applicants doesn't mean that those who failed or those who got hurt in the process must automatically be recruited. Look, we've got to disentangle our emotions from decisions that must be rational, logically based.
Well, let me bring in now the minority spokesperson on defense and interior. Joins us on the line right now, Reverend Tim Kojo. Reverend, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. Quickly, what do you make of the new measures that the armed forces just announced? They're going to have a total of 8 sub-centers. 600 people will be allowed in batches into these centers to receive SMS alerts. There are going to be additional military police and other security agencies there to ensure there is law and order. You've asked for a revision of these recruitment measures at these centers. Are these enough for you?
Yeah, so Evans, right from the beginning, these were the measures we called for, the reforms that we called for. We are yet to have the acting minister for defense and the team honoring our invitation at Parliament for us to probe but ahead of it, the initial reforms that we proposed were that the need to ensure that additional or further decentralization is done. We need to create 4 additional centers in Greater Accra and minimum 2 additional centers in Ashanti region. And so we've followed up to that. We've seen they've responded to put in place some measures in line with that. And in some centers, so in some locations, they even have 2 separate centers. We are going to follow up to ensure that the communication to the prospective or potential recruits actually reflects the segregated scheduling. And this position exonerates our point from the beginning that it was disingenuous on the part of the Ghana Armed Forces and even the president to have blamed the stampede on on potential recruits breaching protocol. We thought that was most unfortunate for failure to put in place the right measures and the right controls, sending bulk messages for over 21,000 people to converge at the center, failure to deploy adequate numbers of military police, deploying only 2 military police. All this culminated into the unfortunate incident we saw. So it was most unfortunate and disingenuous for them to suggest that the stampede should be blamed on potential recruits. They should accept failure. They should accept responsibility. So these initial measures are optimal. We are going to follow up to ensure that they actually implemented the right way. We also understand a board of inquiry is underway. But when the minister and his team honors our invitation and we exercise our oversight, there are a lot of interrogations to be done for us to probe and ensure that comprehensive reforms beyond the stopgap measures being put in place to complete the recruitment exercise for this batch is done, and going forward, sustainable and very creditable measures permanently are discussed and put in place.
You say this is a failure of the Ghana Armed Forces and its measures. If that is the case, then do you expect consequences for those who you blame for supervising the stampede that led to 6 deaths?
No, the consequences starts from the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. I mean, everything rises and falls on leadership. For a very long time now, we called for the appointment of a substantive defense minister. They were adamant. Recall a minister of interior. He has just recently met his team, the IGP, Controller General of Immigration, the Chief Fire Officer, the Director General of Prisons, reviewed all the recruitment processes and made inputs. He gave that broad guidelines, solid leadership before engaging the public. So if we had a substantive defense minister, a similar oversight would have been done. And these deaths, rather unfortunately, could have been prevented.
No, but how so? I mean, the acting defense minister has all the powers of a substantive defense minister until the substantive one is appointed. What difference would that have made?
This incident happened on a day before the budget presentation.
But the plan for the recruitment would have been laid out. I mean, the plan for the recruitment would have been laid out weeks ahead of the week before the budget.
Evans, you know the processes leading up to a budget starts getting busy a month even before the day. And so we all must admit that for a finance ministry to be combined with the defense ministry to be given to one person, you won't get the best out of the person. Particularly, one will suffer. Defense will suffer. If you had combined interior ministry with defense ministry and appointed a minister as acting for the other, they are similar. And their modus operandi are quite similar. They compare notes on a daily basis. That would not be problematic at all. But finance and defense, completely unrelated. So there's deep leadership crisis. If we don't fix that, there will be another dangerous event which will bring us all back trying to hold processes, trying to reform. I mean, we need to be proactive. So that was one. The second thing we started pointing out was the reshuffles and the changes they made at various levels in the Ghana Armed Forces, deprived the Ghana Armed Forces from benefiting from institutional memory. So fresh directors heading directorates here and there, and so they failed to benefit from institutional memory, and all these things that were easily preventable. Having the back end, the benefit of seeing the back 21,000 applying to Greater Accra alone should occasion rescheduling and should occasion before communication work. These government measures we would
Reverend Intim Fojo, apologies there with that connection to you. Reverend Intim Fojo is a ranking member of the Defense and Interior Committee and is lying just unable to hold But he's made that point very clearly that this is part of a leadership failure that goes all the way to the top as far as the commander-in-chief is concerned. But they acknowledge the revised protocols for the recruitment that will now start on Thursday at 8 centers, and only 600 people will get in at a go, and they'll be sending out messages to those who will be assigned to each of the 8 centers to pay attention to that. You can go onto myjournal.com for the details of this if you are one of those who is expecting to be recruited into the military or the Ghana Armed Forces more broadly, and you have an application pending. Check out the specifics on myjoyonline.com. This is News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. Let's stay with the issue about defense and security, because the government has today announced plans to introduce a fresh bill to Parliament for the establishment of a security university. The piece of legislation, called the National Defense University Bill, seeks to streamline and enhance the training of security personnel across the country. Minister for Education Harun Idrisu made the announcement at the launch of the Speaker of Parliament, Abang Babing's scholarship scheme for MPs.
The Speaker, is not just you. I'm sure sooner than later I'll come to Parliament to introduce the National Defense University. It's President Mohammed's decision that the Ghana Armed Forces and all its allied institutions be upgraded into a university of the National Defense University, NDU. Will come to Parliament to introduce a bill on that. So to Professor Atuahine, I should commend Speaker Bagbin, and I believe that many of our academic institutions in Ghana are listening. You can establish a chair in governance. Then once in a while, you can invite the like of Mr. Speaker, former speakers, former experienced members of Parliament to share their views on governance and the administration of the country generally, to understand what Parliament does and what Parliament would not do. So, Mr. Speaker, I should commend you highly for this initiative.
Harun Idrisu there is the Education Minister. So live here on News Night on Joy 99.7 FM. Right after business, we take you to Ewoya, where residents are pushing for swift ratification of the lithium deal. We'll also hear from policy analysts and the Chamber of Mines. They're both asking the minority and the majority sides in Parliament to desist from politicizing the lithium lease and passing.
Playing endless politics with this lithium deal is sending a bad signal to the international investor communities.
George is here with the latest from the world of business. Hello, George.
Evans, and coming up in business, Finance Minister Dr. Atuforson projects about 6.5% inflation rate before the end of this year. Accounting firm KPMG pushes for more economic buffers as Ghana gets ready to exit the IMF program next year. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials, Sinter's tanks, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Mappe. Et mappe. French idiot. This is a midi croissant.
Meet Aja. She makes sobolo in a small shop in Kaswa. She's going places with MTN Ejumapa. Now, she's learning French kakra to teach her francophone customers indigenous recipes.
Watashi no namae wa.
Watashi no namae. Boy.
Whoa. She's learning Japanese too? Watashi. What? If you're a woman with a small business, join MTN Ejumapa today by dialing *5060# and enjoy 150 megabytes data, a lifestyle bundle for social media, free MTN to MTN calls every Monday, and an insurance cover. You will also gain access to expert training, discounts on digital tools, and financial support to grow the business of your dreams. Terms and conditions apply. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Temania Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Center Point Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
At Star Oil, we believe fuel is not just a commodity, it is a lifeline. Every cedi saved at the pump is a cedi that helps a mother send her child to school, a farmer transports food to the market, or a young entrepreneur deliver their first order. Our mission is to make fuel more accessible by offering consistently competitive prices, helping ease the financial burden on Ghanaian households. In a country where transportation costs can consume nearly a third of household income, this is not just business. It's a social responsibility. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
For many years, we've been solving Ghana's water storage problems with quality tanks. Syntex tank. You know, it is strong, it's tough, and reliable. And now, we're in to solve the #1 problem when it comes to water carriage: our pipes. With the state-of-the-art machinery, Syntex is providing very strong, tough, reliable, high-quality, and durable pipes at a reasonable price. This is Syntex Pipes. With Syntex Pipes, water flows wow. I mean, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. If they carry water, no wahala. With Syntex Pipe, our water problems are solved. Syntex, are you strong? Are you tough?
Brushing gets more fun with your kids with the new Pepsodent Kids toothpaste. Give your smiles protection that lasts. Grab yours today from a store near you. This advert is FDA approved.
This year is going to be sweet. I don't just feel it, I know it, because the Luckiest Season 3 is back.
And I'm about to show you how to grab your golden ticket. Just dial *712# and follow the prompts to purchase your ticket. Or go to theluckiestafrica.com, hit community tickets, and pick your lucky number.
Or let the system do its magic. Choose how much you want to spend from 1 to 5,000 Ghana cedis. You can even buy a ticket for someone else. Be someone's hero. Payment? Easy. Mobile money in Ghana or card if you're international.
One ticket can turn 1 CD into 500 times more. That's maths we love. Or your community could win 10 times more. So let's get lucky together because luck is everywhere.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, Finance Minister Dr. Forson is expecting inflation to drop further to about 6.5% before the end of this year. Inflation rate for the month of October dropped marginally to 8% for the 10th consecutive time and the lowest in 4 years. However, there are fears that the good run may be coming to an end as we end the harvest season soon, but the minister disagrees.
Even the 11% at the time, a lot of people doubted me. But I was very sure of what we were doing and we knew it was going to happen. So inflation is down, currency is strong and stable. You have growth rebounding strongly, and fiscal discipline is on. The fiscal balance is doing revenue, doing expenditure down. And so with all the kind of things we've done to restore stability in business confidence, you need to certainly sustain it. Otherwise, you don't even start it. The central bank has been able to build reserves thanks to the effort of the governor. He works so well. And all what we are putting together, what I'm trying to say is that all the gains you have made, there is the need for you to consolidate it. Because if you don't consolidate it, again, Ghanaians will say, oh, you know, and that is what everybody's saying. They keep saying that, oh, can they sustain it going forward? And so to be able to signal to the people of Ghana that this is a new era, we need to consolidate the stability that we are seeing and to send signals also to the investor community that once again, Ghana is ripe for business. Because it's only until...
And that is the Finance Minister, Dr. Atto Force. In a related development, economist Professor Peter Kote wants government to do more in the area of food production and post-harvest storage facilities to sustain the current inflation levels.
The single-digit inflation is sustainable once we continue to pursue the current fiscal consolidation regime, once we continue to maintain confidence, once the exchange rate remains fairly stable and the CD becomes the currency of choice. I think we can sustain the single-digit inflation. And of course, what is also very critical is the need to ramp up food production, the need to increase food. Food accounts for a greater component of our expenditure basket, and therefore, if we really want to fight inflation, let's look at food as well as non-food items as well. But I think food is very critical. They need to invest more as we move along. They need to invest more in irrigation. They need to support commercial food production.
And that is economist Professor Peter Kote. Auditing and servicing firm KPMG's advising government to consider building more economic buffers as the country prepares to exit the IMF program that is next year. The firm argues that it is crucial that the country will be required to make some commitment towards domestic financing. Country manager and partner at KPMG Ghana, Andy Akoto, gave their advice in reaction to the 2026 budget statement during a post-budget forum in Accra today.
Even as the government moves to stimulate growth, it's very important that it also build buffers towards the subsequent exit from the IMF program, because it will come with a number of outcomes, including, of course, beginning to service our debt obligations and so on. So overall, we are expectant and we are hoping that government will put in place the necessary safety measures to ensure that the laudable initiatives are achieved.
And Akoto is the country managing partner at accounting firm KPMG Ghana. Now, Chief Executive of Star Oil, Philip Tieku, has questioned the relevance of the current price floor program for petroleum products. The National Petroleum Authority last year rolled out the program which prevents product price being sold a certain level. Mr. Tieku noted that the firm could have actually sold below the current levels if it hadn't been this program.
If the regulator, the MPA's view is that the price floor is necessary to protect the companies from outdoing themselves in terms of a price war, there are various ways the regulator can check that. The regulator has access to all the prices at which we buy from the suppliers. They have the tax rates, and they can tell whether we are making a profit or not making a profit on every single transaction that we enter on their portal. So there are ways the regulator can actually gauge profitability in the market. Price floor, I think, denies the consumer of market opportunities. For example, we've had a period when the CD suddenly dropped from 12 point something to about 10.5. Because of a price floor, I can't sell my fuel below 12.
Philip Teku is the chief executive of Star Oil. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans.
George, thank you very much. We can do sports now, and Mr. Cranton is here with the latest.
Yeah, the Black Stars of Ghana, they held their final training session in Seoul ahead of tomorrow's game against South Korea. The Black Stars are going into the game with 3 players less, with Antoine Semenyo and Mohamed Salisu leaving camp with various injuries, in addition to Abu Francis, who suffered a double leg fracture in the defeat to Japan. Head coach of the side, Otualu, says his team are prepared and know exactly what to expect against the Koreans tomorrow.
Like we said, we had a difficult match against Japan. Think and hope that we learned out of it. We knew that they were going to press us, and we expect the same for Korea to do that. We know exactly what Korea can do, especially in the transition moments. So we have to learn out of the mistakes like we did in the last game. So it's very important for us to be comfortable, to stay compact, also have a good rest defense even when we build up, so that in case that we lose balls, we are not open to concede a goal.
That was Black Stars head coach Otuado speaking there. Now Ghana's ambassador to Korea, Kojo Choi, paid the team a visit earlier today and shared some words of encouragement.
And Korea has so much respect for all of you. Because when they talk about the football power of Africa, Ghana always comes on top. And you are here representing Ghana. So the question that I'm going to ask you is, do you think you are small? I said, no. You guys are big. And you are already big enough. I understand that we faced a very nice defeat in Japan. I understand coach is trying a lot of experiments here and there. And I also understand that some of our, the big boys are not here. I believe this gives us a better opportunity.
You had Ghana's ambassador to Korea, Kojo Choi, bringing that into sports.
And when can we expect the World Cup draw?
December 5th.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we're all hoping that we get, a group that we can sail through quite easily.
Yeah, it depends on the rankings. That's why tomorrow's game is very important. A win for Ghana could slightly boost their rankings, which could put us in maybe pot 3 instead of pot 4.
Okay.
And that could help us.
Okay, that game is important then. Thank you very much, Daniel Cranting. And so live here on Newsnight, it's on Joy 99.7 FM. I'll be sharing your thoughts with the rest of the world pretty shortly here on Newsnight. Now, civil society and the Chamber of Mines have tonight joined forces to sound the alarm on the growing politicization of Ghana's lithium agreement, cautioning that increasingly heated exchanges between the majority and minority in parliament could undermine investor confidence and jeopardize the country's economic future. As tensions rise, residents of Ewoya in the central region are demanding swift ratification of the revised agreement, which was laid before parliament last week. Traditional leaders have warned that parliament will face consequences if the deal isn't passed by the end of the year. In the latest episode of our Hope on Pause, the Lithium Promise series, Emmanuel Jivenu examines the link between a vibrant lithium project and jobs in the communities impacted by the project.
Hello,
Justice Agri is one of more than 100 workers laid off, casualties of Parliament's delay in ratifying the Ewoya lithium project. Before he was sent home, Justice had risen from roadside weeding to become a semi-skilled technician, a job that gave him pride, stability, and a new sense of who he was becoming. It was the first time Justice earned enough to dream. His pay rose, and with it, the hope of a better life for his family.
When we first discovered the lithium, I was thrilled. Everyone was excited because it meant new job opportunities and development for the central region.
But 2 years without parliamentary approval brought all the progress to a standstill.
I've gone back to Sweden. That's how I provide for my family. Our situation has worsened since the lithium project stalled, and we hope it will be revived.
I'm Sarah Agri, Mr. Justice. Agri is my father. He told us that they said they should come home, they will go again. They will start the work around somewhere 2025, but still the work is not. So they are still at home.
Every day Justice stays home, waiting for a call that never comes, is another day her daughter's hope for college drifts further away.
I completed school around 2023. Then because of money, financial issues, I couldn't further my education. But he's willing to take me to school when the work comes in.
Community leaders say the delay are deepening frustration and hardship.
I cannot even describe the extent of my disappointment. It is very sad. Such opportunity, one day you are asked to go home because the ratification is not given.
In Krampakrom, a trained technician of 8 years is back to the charcoal business he thought he had left behind.
What am I going to do? I have a wife and children to care for. Before coming here, I was making charcoal. That's how I earn money to buy books for my children.
The lithium project was really helpful at the start. It brought much needed support to the people of Mfansima, especially me. My whole family was excited because I could provide for them.
Not everyone has been sent home yet, but for the few still working, survival hangs by a thread.
Yes, sir. And my best side to will be here. It may be I'm about to from John Ampa. Me, Atlantic Lithium.
I currently handle monitoring on the mining concession. Because of the delay in ratifying the Iwoya lithium project, work has slowed and many of my colleagues have been laid off. By God's grace, I'm still working, but most of my friends are at home. We are really urging the government to fast-track the ratification of the Iwoya lithium project so that we, the youth in this area, can have jobs.
From 167 workers down to 62, more than 100 jobs gone. Atlantic Lithium employed geologists, lab technicians, drivers, electricians, and other support staff. Lands and Natural Resources Minister Emmanuel Amakofeboa has now laid a revised agreement before Parliament.
3 key areas has been looked at: the royalty rate adjustment, VAT deferral on capital inputs, and sub-on transshipment facility feasibility. These 3 areas were new areas that has been factored, and that called for us to look at the new lease. The new lease has been negotiated, sent to Cabinet for approval, and we are here in Parliament to get ratification.
We will not forgive them if they defer it again. With the processes it has passed, there shouldn't be any hula baloo about it.
The Iwoya lithium project promised 800 direct jobs, at least 2,700 indirect jobs, and a new industrial path. Now, that future waits on parliamentary approval.
You to the external
We, the youth in the communities affected by the project, are pleading with the government to have mercy on us. We need their support and grace to ratify the project, or else we will continue to suffer.
2 years have passed. The machines are quiet. The jobs are gone. And hope sits in limbo. For families like the Agris, ratification of the Iwoya lithium project must not be politicized. It is their chance to live their dreams again. Iwoya's future, and the futures tied to it, now wait on a single choice: a choice that can restore dignity or confirm another broken promise. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News, Iwoya, Central Region.
Well, co-chair of the Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, Dr. Steve Mattel, wants Parliament to focus on the national interest, depoliticize the debate, and think about the big picture.
Clearly, the NPP is playing politics with this whole issue. And it's also fair to observe that the NDC in their time also played politics with the issue. The whole discussion seems to be driven by sentiments rather than data and science. Let me put on record that Zimbabwe is Africa's leading producer of lithium. And yet, all Zimbabwe gets in a year from its lithium is 400 million maximum. Sometimes last year they got about 350 million US dollars. Your gold, the gold we produce in this country, gives us in excess of $2 billion. With the rising gold prices, I won't be surprised it will end over and about $3 billion in a year. And yet we are happy to take 5% royalty for gold, which is more valuable than lithium, and condemn 10% royalty for lithium, which is worth less. So it looks like we're driven by sentiments. Everybody has pinned their hopes on lithium, but we are not going to get anything near what we get for gold.
So this is even dead on arrival.
Exactly. I think we are just being overly sentimental. And it is also because over the years, we've not been able to unleash the development potential of our natural resources. And so many people are tend to see this as the last option, the last opportunity we have. But the value of the resource we are talking about is not the kind of mineral or the kind of value that would transform this economy.
Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Mines, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, asked Parliament to ratify the deal as soon as possible.
It is important we get this thing to start and then ensure that the price of lithium that had even tanked, we make sure that we revise the terms in such a way that it makes it viable as a business, so that everybody, including those who have given their lands, including government, including those who are waiting for jobs, including other contractors, and the local content arm of it who are also waiting to be able to start work, are able to do that, so that as a country we'll be able to benefit out of this. Bear in mind that this is lithium that there will be some concentration that is going to be done, all of which then adds value, all of which then retains a bit of value into this country. So we should work as quickly as we can to get this lease signed.
And that day is Dr. Ken Ashigbe speaking to us today on The Pulse. A few of your messages on our WhatsApp console and the stories that we've done so far here on the program. And this one from the Kwama Boateng in Ablekuma says, the Speaker of Parliament, he says, talks too much. Alexa Nathaniel Market is what Nathaniel Market is doing in Parliament is exactly what the Speaker did a few years ago, and it is now playing out right in his face. He had ever dreamt of becoming Speaker, he would have conducted himself, he says, better. And also from Godsway Akakbo says it's high time we review our recruitment processes as a nation in light of the current developments and the technology that currently avails. I want to applaud the Ghana Armed Forces for taking drastic measures to address some of the inefficiencies in the recruitment process. I believe candidates will follow instructions to avoid creating a pandemonium at the centers. And I want to quickly bring you the latest development as far as the Chief Justice is concerned. He was sworn in today, Justice Bafoboni, and we've heard from him. He says he's backing calls for reforms as far as legal education is concerned.
Legal education, the future of the bar is the future of the bench. You must move from exclusion to inclusion, from rote learning to critical thinking, and from credentialism to competence. Working with the General Legal Council, the Ghana School of Law, and our law faculties, we shall pursue a model that ensures opportunity without compromising quality.
And that there is the newly sworn in Chief Justice, Justice Paul Baffour